Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 184. It's the first podcast from the ranch. Yep, we made it up to Montana. We're in the ranch, and now we're busy doing those things you do when you move into a new home. It's just a ton of fun. Hey, I want to thank all you folks, your well wishes this past week as we did the travel. It went really quite smoothly considering the times. We were quite blessed. Got here. Brent and Jake and Kat helped, so it was a lot of fun. Now the more fun begins. So I want to thank all you folks for all your well wishes, and keeping in touch means a lot to me. Also appreciate all those great emails. You guys have, been, it's obvious you're thinking about your photography through all the emails keep coming. And I'm grateful for them. I appreciate, talking with you and the ability to sit there and able to help whenever possible. So thanks. I also want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera, bedfords.com. While the brick and mortar stores are closed, during this current times, their online is up and going. Lots of great stuff. It's looking pretty good that we might be able to get back out here, and you should be thinking about what you might need to get yourself out shooting successfully. So give those folks a call. Go online. Make sure when you go to the checkout, you put in the discount code MOOSE. Get that special discount. Free shipping for things over $99, and for a lot of states, no sales tax. And remember to thank them for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. Well, you're probably anxious for me to get going, so let's just get going. Let's talk opportunity part 2. Quick sum up from last week. It's all about selling your photographs. What's the best way to sell your photograph? Well, a lot of people think selling that one picture. Now, here's a quick, making a long story short when it comes to that. Let's just say that you were to strike gold and you have somebody who wants to use your one photograph. Now, if it's a quarter page, when I say quarter page, we talk about the actual size of the photograph being put into the magazine. They talk about quarter page, half page, whole page, 2 pages, called a double truck, or a cover. The amount of real estate your photograph covers in that magazine is how you get paid. And the average these days for most magazines, wildlife, aviation, a quarter page, $125. That's correct. $125. So let's think about this for a second. How many single photographs do you have to sell at $125 each? Let's say just to pay the rent. How many? 10? What are the odds of you finding 10 magazines each month that need your photograph? Especially if you're working your 9-to-5 job. I mean, that's what I did for, a long time. Worked a 9-to-5 job and did the rest of the stuff before I went to work and after getting back to work and on the weekends. Well, quick math, you realize that that's a really hard thing to do. Find 10 photo buyers that want 10 of your images each month. Now let's change this scenario. What if we were to sell a text photo package where we have 6 or 8 photographs and we also have all the verbiage in between? How much would that sell? Just 6, 8 photographs and the text, how much would that pay? Minimum these days is $500. Much bigger depending on the magazine, subject matter, and how much you've been doing it, how long, what, the quality of your work. $2,000 for an article text photos package is not unreasonable. Now, if you can just do one publication a month and it's $2,000, let's do the math, right? 10 photographs, 10 magazines, $1,000. One photograph or one text package, one magazine a month, $2,000. Which one is much more possible in your wheelhouse? The text photo package. So that means you're going to have to sit there and write. Now, let me give you the first piece of advice. I'm going to keep saying it many times. My good friend Pete gave it to me when I first started out. Write from your files. So last week, I talked about selecting those photographs. You've got those 20 photographs. Whatever they happen to be, you pick those 20 photographs. So now you have the personal experiences from taking those photographs in which to write from. Seriously, that makes things so much easier. And right now, I know people are going, sure, makes it real simple. Okay, well, let me give you a little bit of help when it comes to writing. No, not adverbs, nouns, not the grammatical stuff, okay? Not what I'm here to help you with. It's the actual story itself, the article, how you're going to frame it up. How are you going to sit there and make a sale, get the reader's attention, make the money? Well, first and foremost, first thing I'm going to tell you is whatever you write, you want to put into that article a thank you. Not saying the words thank you. You want to put in that article something that thanks the person spending the time to read it. What are they going to get from your article? What is it that you're going to help them with? Now, if you're just going to regurgitate what everybody else has said, you're not going to get very far. You have to make it your own. That's why you write from images from your own file. You've got the story behind those pictures, the anecdotes, the things that worked well, the things that failed. Now, how can you take those photographs and frame up an article that helps that other person reading it move themselves down the road, be it learning about a new location, a new lens, a new technique, whatever it is? What do you have to share from your personal experiences that can help someone? Understand that people like to read both the successes and the failures. They want to know they're not alone in this process. Now, you've got to do it in about 1,800 words, which isn't very much. So you got to make each word count for 10. That's another thing I learned from another editor, Dave, who was really good. He really made me sit there and learn to make each word count for 10. Okay, so you got your basic framework. You've got your photographs. How do you want to start? Where do you want to paint the picture? Where do you want to take that reader? And then how you want to end up? So to me, the beginning, the middle, and the end are all important. Two parts are only as strong as the other part, so you'll make them all straight or strong. Now, I have a basic formula. It's not really, just mine. It's pretty common. But the first basic 3 paragraphs, I'm going to sit there and paint the scene verbally. I'm going to get the reader to sit there and think about it. Now, the very first sentence is so important. Now, I'm not going to put pressure on you because then, you get that infamous writer's block, which if you've picked the right photographs, you got to realize you should have no writer's block. That first sentence, you've got to reach out and grab that reader from the page, and you got to grab them by the heart, and you got to reel them in and say, I want you to read this because I think I have something that might just make your day. And then from that, you're going to sit there and build those first 3 paragraphs to explain in the broadest terms why you are bringing this to them, why are they reading it. And then in the end, you're going to say, okay, now here's how it went. And then the next, 3, 7, 10 paragraphs, however, you want to do it. Remember to make them small, not lots of words. Each one's got to count for 10. You want to break up the text with subheadings because that helps the reader look at the article real quick and say, okay, this is going to be an easy read. I can understand that. And there you can go through the nuts and bolts, okay, of what the first 3 paragraphs were telling them about. And then you're going to wrap it up, and you got to have a strong conclusion. You've got to really sit there and just bring it all home to them. Make your points succinct, make them clear, make them resonate, make them personal. The more you can put of yourself into this, not just through the photographs, but through your words, the better it can be. Now, I don't know if you ever noticed my own personal style, and it's the way I've been for a long, long time, is the title for the article is almost always my last closing sentence of my article. I've been doing that for a long time for lots of reasons, but basically it's that thread, that logic that takes people through my article and through the photographs. Okay, that's kind of the basics. Now, if you want examples of this, I've got lots of my articles out on the website. You can sit there and you can see, now that I've given you the basic formula, how I do it. Now, if you're wondering if I write an outline, I am notorious for never writing an outline. Some get really frustrated with me, and I tell them, look, by the time I write the outline, the article's going to be done. And here's the sick thing about me. When it comes to writing an article, it takes maybe an hour and a half for me to write an article anymore. I mean, I'm writing from my photographs. I'm writing from my experience. I've written so much. It's, if you got the photographs, it comes really quickly. But here's the key. Here's the secret. Here's the one thing that, I'm going to tell you that you're not going to hear anywhere else when it comes to being successful, is you've got those photographs, those 20 photographs. As you write that article, you're going to write the article and use the words describing, not literally describing, here's a picture of a red flower with a hummingbird coming in, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to write the article, so it has to be illustrated with your photographs. You could say you're going to create the holes for your own photographs and then fill those holes with your photographs. So when you send them to the photo buyer, you're doing a couple things. One, you're making their life really simple. Here's the text, here's the photographs. They don't have to go out and find them. You've done it. It's complete. And when you do that, that's how you make the cha-ching sale. Because everybody likes things simple. Everything likes, things nice and neat and easy. Because look at the flip side. If you are doing stock photography and you're hoping to sell that one photograph, you're hoping some other author has written an article and created a hole with their words that your photograph fills. I mean, think about it. How easy is it for you to find that magazine with that article, that hole for your photograph? Now, it can be done. Okay, honestly, it can be done. We do it quite a bit. But it's kind of like a sideline to the text photo packages that we produce. And when you can sit there and deliver that to that photo buyer, and remember, the photographs are spot on, okay? They're spot on. So then they get the text. Hey, like I've said a million times, text is not that difficult to deal with, clean up and alter, shorten and lengthen. But that photograph, okay, that's a done deal. And when you have them both and you deliver them, that's how you sit there and take advantage of this opportunity you've got. Now, you want to start now in this whole process because it's going to take you a little bit. In the first article, you're going to sit there and think about it way too much. And you're going to sit there and pick at the words way too much. And you're going to try to make it way too perfect. That's not the point here, okay? That's not the point. The time is now to take advantage of this opportunity. Perfection, okay, is kind of boring. It's not going to get you anywhere. Think about this. You got those photographs. You know the story behind them. You have some sort of passion, some connection. Put that in those words, 1,800 words, 2 pages. It's really simple, okay? So what I want you to do this week is do just that, okay? Just assemble these 2 big pieces, the 20 photographs and your article. Because, there's going to be a part 3, because once you get this text photo package, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to make things happen? How are you going to put your best foot forward? Well, I hope you're going to have a great week. You're going to think about this, assemble these parts, because next week we're going to get to that. And remember that you're going to keep shooting this whole week, and every time you click, make sure you make it your story.